Welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Josh Kimmel. With me, my buddy, my co-host, Justin Bowerly over there, and Dave, Dirtbag Dave, the Brock Lesnar of this show. He did not want to make an appearance tonight. He is not paid for July work, he said, and he is taking off until SummerSlam. I have no idea where he
Yeah,
is.
something about, it's a national holiday yesterday, so it's an observance today, so he didn't want to join the show today.
Or next week, probably, or the weekend. But
Yes.
either way, we move on. We carry on as we do, and we're bringing you the our top two regression candidates going into 2023. And this, Dave, honestly, to be fair, Dave was scheduled to be on the show, and he had a great
Really good reason.
to be missing, but he had a good regression candidate that I wanted to talk to him about because I put a poll on Twitter. We'll get to that when we get there. But before you dive in and we give you all this content, please go to our Twitters. If Twitter's still a thing, I don't know if it is.
Currently, it still is.
All right, so Justin Powerly on Twitter, and me, of course, at Josh Kimmel OUS, and Viking Dave 18, and more importantly, Fins Talk Sports Network. Fins Talk Sports Network. All you audio listeners, I know you're out there. Please go to our YouTube page, subscribe, click that like button, check out the other shows as well, man. If you're a Dolphins fan, which I know some of you are, this is a great channel to get that Dolphin content that you need to get through the NFL season. So let's get right into it, Justin. I want to get right into this regression candidate because I think this is a very interesting topic. I think that, we always project forward. You never want to look into the past too much because the past is the past. Straight up, like, doesn't mean it's going to repeat. So we look at these players and we look at the top. Everyone does this. Every casual player does this. Before the draft, they get the magazine. They get everything going on. They look at who was top 12 last year? Who was this? Who was that? And they want to know why they were in the top 12. They just go, Daniel Jones, top 10 quarterback last year. He must be good. No, these players are destined to regress because everyone goes down, everyone goes up. So on that end, I don't know if you want to kick it off with yours or if
you want to do one on one.
Yeah, we'll do one. We'll ping pong back and forth.
Perfect. So the first one, I'm gonna start this off by do as I say, not as I do. Mostly because I roster both of my regression candidates in 3 leagues. So that, and actually I think, all 3 of those leagues are the exact same teams. So this will be great for me. If you're listening to this and in one of my leagues, I'm probably going to throw these guys on the trade block. So the first one I'm going to go with is a running back. I don't think this is too far-fetched. It's going to be Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones has finished top 10 since 2019 when he finished as RB2. Last year he finished as RB9, but that was also with Aaron Rodgers. This year he's not going to have Aaron Rodgers. The offense is going to be ran by Jordan Love. We'll see if that is a thing this year, how well that does. Jordan Love has played in, 1, maybe 2 games in his entire career. I'm expecting that he's going to want to throw it deep to Romeo Doubs or Dobbs, which I think it's Doubs, and Christian Watson a lot to prove that, he is that quarterback. He's not going to want to dump it off. A lot of young guys don't like to dump that ball off, and that's where Aaron Jones got a lot of his money in over the last, 4 or 5 years. So I'm thinking that being 28 years old, he's coming into the back half of his running back career. I don't see him being a top 10, maybe a top 20, sneaking in around 15 there, but he's not going to be at that same level as he has been the last 4 years.
It's interesting that you bring up Aaron Jones because he was on my short list as well. When you brought him up, I was the first one in our chat to bring up my guys, because I already knew off the rip one of my guys were. The second guy was hard for me to find, and Aaron Jones was on that list of okay, is he going to regress? But I'm on the opposite spectrum of you. I think it's going to be. See, regression is weird. Of course, he won't be top 10. It's hard because other players are coming in, and Bijan Robinson automatically takes a spot away. And some guys are going to move down. And he's going to be one of those guys that move down. So does that mean his fantasy points will move down, or just him in the position will move down? So he can score that, whatever he had last year and still mimic the same production. It's just he won't finish in the top 10 because of these incoming guys like a Jahmyr Gibbs and a Bijan Robinson and other guys that are coming back from injury or in better situations as well.
Yeah, I mean, that does help or that doesn't help him with Gibbs and Robinson both coming in the league. I think those are the only two that could maybe fight for a spot higher than him. Mostly Robinson. Gibbs could get up there. Between that and he doesn't get, a lot of the goal line running plays. That's Aaron Dillon. So
AJ, yeah, that
AJ
guy.
Dillon, yeah,
What
AJ, the other A on that team. AJ Dillon gets all of those goal line carries. So once they get in the red zone, AJ Dillon comes in. Aaron Jones kind of takes a step out. Most of his points, I mean, he hasn't seen under 63 targets in the last 4 years. That's a lot of targets for a running back. I don't see him getting the same kind of production this year.
You're right, but so you look at it. I'm looking at a lot. He was a he was a running back 8. I looked through weeks 1 through 17 PPR formats. Running back 8. Tony Pollard was above him. You got to think he's going to finish above him. Nick Chubb, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. Like these guys, he's not going to pass. But then there's the guys that are beneath him in this finish last year, like a Ramondre Stevenson. You know how high I am on a Ramondre Stevenson. Yes, he's going to pass him. Miles Sanders in a better role in Carolina. He was running back 13 last year. He's also going to overtake him, along with the Bijans and Jahmyr Gibbs. But then again, like you're sitting here at Aaron Jones. What was it? What was his points per game last year? 15.1. That's doable. That's doable. But I could see him definitely taking a step back with a. How could that offense get worse? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How could it get worse? Last year it was bad. And with Jordan Love,
Aaron Rodgers.
He still had Aaron Rodgers. You're right. But man, if he does get the checkdowns and he is more involved or stays involved in the passing game, I can see him staying up there.
Okay, if he gets those checkdowns and he gets those same kind of targets, I could see him staying up there. But otherwise, he's not gonna finish top 10.
And then the age, you got to factor that in as well. So yeah, that's a good one. That's why he was on my list. But I'm going to go over to the quarterback position. I'm going to start off hot. This is the lock. This was locked and loaded for me. Number 1 regression candidate is Jared Goff. Detroit Lions. Last year, he was a quarterback 10, averaged 17.1 points per game. His ADP now is currently quarterback 16, so everyone kind of is on the same wagon as me, but a lot of the casuals are not. You guys got to understand with his ADP right now, this is the ADP of the Sharks, the guys, the pros, the people that are doing it nonstop, the guys that are in multiple leagues. So when the casuals start coming in, they'll go, oh, Jared Goff, he's on the Lions. We like the Lions. We like their head coach. We think that they're going to be good this year. So let's draft Jared Goff as my quarterback 1, whatever. Sure, that's fine. That's totally fine. But he's not going to match what he did last year. There's just no way. You didn't really add anything to this offense. Jameson Williams is now suspended for the first 6 games of the season with the gambling. Was it 6 or is it more? I believe it's 6.
Yeah, he had 6 games. The others got a year.
The others got more, right? So you lose that already. Now you're just back to Amon-Ra. DeAndre Swift last year was number 2 in targets for that team, 70. Khalif Raymond was number 3, 64. Josh Reynolds was 4, and DJ Chark was 5th. Like none of these guys are special. DeAndre Swift is the only one that was special, and he's gone. The rest of these bums are still here, not DJ Chark. So you didn't add, and you also lost TJ Hawkinson. I mean, I know he was gone halfway through the season last year anyway, but he's still not there. So who is this guy going to throw to? Amon-Ra all day long? Sure, that can work for a little bit. And then you got to look at the whole scheme of the Lions. Look at Dan Campbell. Look at that offense. What do they want to do? They built that offensive line to pound the rock. They traded up for Jahmyr Gibbs. They signed David Montgomery. This team wants to run the football. This team wants to be a hard-nosed running team. So then I went to Jared Goff last year. I'm like, man, but he did really good. Like he was awesome. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Week 10, he played Chicago. By the way, I almost want to say this. Week 10 through 17, he was like the quarterback 6. He was awesome. He was phenomenal. But let's see who he played. Week 10, Chicago. They gave up the 6th most points to fantasy quarterbacks of anyone. Okay, awesome. The week 11, Giants. They're 17th. He sucked. Week 12, Buffalo. They give up no fantasy points to quarterbacks. He sucked. Then the rest of the way, top freaking 8 against on the schedule. He just blew everyone away because he played trash ass defenses. Carolina, Chicago again, Minnesota. Dave, I see you in the chat. Go to the urgent care, buddy. They sucked. So when you're playing these crappy teams and he blew them away because of how bad they were, of course he's going to look good. What did he do from weeks 1 through week 9? Oh, he was quarterback 16. Oh, because he had a tougher schedule. I mean, it's the David Montgomery effect. If you want to throw that in my face, when Montgomery was finishing awesome because he had awesome schedules and then he sucks, of course. So you got to do the same thing with Jared Goff. Jared Goff is an average quarterback. He should not be your starting quarterback for any reason, only in super flex formats. Get him off your team. Stop believing in this guy. I put a poll out there. Geno Smith or Jared Goff, who would you prefer? Jared Goff won. Okay, the other guy has DK Metcalf. The other guy has Pete Carroll as a coach, by the way. The other guy has Tyler Lockett and JSN in a way better offense. But we want Jared Goff, who has Amon Ra, in a coach that has a rocks for brains. Cool. All right. So Jared Goff, I'm staying away from him. Ugly, man. Just ugly. Ugly.
I don't disagree with you at all. I really don't. I mean,
20. Like I went down and have all of his points per games. Like 2018, he had 19.9 points per game. That was his best season of all time. Last year, he had 17.1 points per game, which is like an average quarterback. Every other year is 16.5, 16.9. The guy's just an average quarterback. He's nothing special.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Who's your number 2 regression?
Number 2, I'm going with one of the guys from Geno Smith, actually. This one shouldn't be a surprise considering they drafted a rookie. He's now 30 years old. However, I consider him to be a regression candidate because he has not finished below wide receiver 15 since 2018 when he finished 17th. It's Tyler Lockett. Again, age and, target shares. Geno Smith's not going to be able to get Tyler Lockett the ball. He had 84 targets last year. I don't see that being a thing. His best year, he had 100 targets. I can see him getting more in the 65, 70 range, probably, maybe even 75 at most. I just think with Jackson and DK, I don't think you're going to get the same kind of targets, especially when you got Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet there as well. They really have to spread that ball out now for Tyler to get those targets. So between the age and that share, he's not going to finish in the top 15. Probably not even the top 20 this year.
No,
And
Tyler
again,
Lockett
I roster him on 3 teams.
Yeah, I know you try to give him to me for like nothing. I'm like, no, you wanted something. I'm like, nah, I'm good. No, but Tyler Lockett's going to ADP wide receiver 33 right now. JSN 34. They're back to back. Like they're right there next to each other. That's going to be tough. I don't see Tyler Lockett just dying. I just don't.
No, because there's so many people lately that have talked about how every time he catches the ball, he falls. And that brings longevity to a wide receiver in this game. I mean, when you're not getting hit every play, that helps you play longer. And I mean, that's how Marvin Harrison had such a long career, is just diving after catching the ball and not taking that hit. He could probably play for another 4 years at a high level. I just don't see him finishing as top 20 wide receiver in the league.
No, I see the same situation. You know what's funny in Madden? I used to play in a Madden league with Dave actually, and I quit because Madden's trash. But my go-to was possession catch. That's my go-to because you don't drop the ball, you don't get hit, sticked, and fumble it, you don't get hurt. This is awesome. Possession catch is the way to go. I'm with Tyler Lockett. I would like to see Tyler Lockett move on, get traded to another team, or get somewhere else where you're actually needed. Not that he's not needed there, but I want to see JSN be a thing and DK be a thing.
Yeah,
And
I think a team that needs a veteran wide receiver that can actually still play, that's going to be important. There's veterans going to other teams recently remind me of like Julio Jones, who did absolutely nothing with 2 teams
nobody thought Julio was going to
after,
be something except for Buccaneer fans that were delusional. That
and
was
Titans
it.
fans.
I don't even remember the Titans run. I don't even remember that. Wow.
Exactly.
But nobody in their right mind thought Julio Jones was going to be something. Tyler Lockett is not Julio Jones. As in, Julio, when he was at his top, was elite level, Hall of Fame. He is a Hall of Famer. Tyler Lockett, he's just like that steady Eddie, very, very good. Not a Hall of Famer, just a very good player who's going to make very good plays his entire career. But you're right. I don't think he's going to be top 15 this year. Definitely easy regression, but nobody's drafted him high. So that's a good thing. He is very cheap in your drafts, and you could take that chance on him. That's okay. He's
You
not going to
could,
cost you a lot.
because you don't even have to take him high. You don't have to start him. He could be sitting on your bench and be like, "Oh, hey, hello." If it's in a best ball league, I'll take him.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take him late or even middle, so that you don't have to rely on starting him. But if it's a league where I have to set my lineup every week, I don't think I really want him.
No, I definitely don't want him on my team either. But here's a receiver that I do want on my team. My second regression candidate, but I don't want to draft him. Unfortunately, we talked about him last week, and he is a Dolphin. He is Tyreek Hill. He was a wide receiver 2 last year, 21.1 points per game. Wide receiver 3 right now, going ADP 7th overall. So you have to spend a first round capital draft pick on him at this time. I just don't see him. I see him finishing top 10. So this is stupid. Dave's going to yell at me because I said Tyreek Hill is going to regress. Christian Kirk is not a regression candidate, sir. Christian Kirk is going to the moon, as we spoke about on Monday night's Beer and Sports podcast with Josh Wingate and I.
Josh, I agree with you.
No,
Sorry, the other Josh.
Okay, Christian Kirk is awesome. But Tyreek Hill had a career year. So this is me saying Jamal Williams is going to regress. Yeah, no crap. 170 targets, 119 receptions, 1,710 yards. That is all a career high by a mile. Those are like when Michael Thomas went nuts in 2019. That was Tyreek. This is Tyreek's Michael Thomas season. I'm not saying Tyreek's going to fall off the cliff like Michael Thomas and just die and go away, because we've seen Tyreek be elite his entire career, but we also saw Michael Thomas be elite his entire career. This is a different team that wants to do something different. They don't want to just let Tua go back there, these long ass drops, sitting in the pocket, getting nailed, getting destroyed. I think they want to protect him and protect the football. And for that to happen, they need to have a strong, balanced running game and a strong, balanced, short passing. What do they call it? The extension of the run. We're going to see Waddle on some crosses. You're going to see some little screen pass. I don't think they're going to go as deep as much. I just don't. So therefore, that takes a lot of Tyreek Hill's game away. Now, Tyreek's still involved. He's going to do this. Look, if you can give Tyreek 8-yard slant, he's down, he's gone. That's going to happen. Tyreek's going to be phenomenal. But I'm just saying these numbers he put up last year were beyond phenomenal. He hasn't reached over, 1,400 yards since 2018. Like, he just doesn't do it anymore. 1,710 was a big FU to Patrick Mahomes in that Kansas City Chiefs and every hater out there. Because remember, in the offseason, he said Tua is more accurate, it has a better ball than Mahomes, and he said that, and people trashed him. He made people shut up, and he wanted to make people shut up. So he was pretty much like saying, F you, F you, F you, Tua, you're my dude. Let's make some magic. I believe if Tua didn't get hurt, he would have broke records. He would have broke all the records, not the touchdown record, but the receiving record and the reception record, I believe, could have been in his hands. But unfortunately, Tua didn't play as long.
No, and that's the unfortunate part, is Tua didn't play that long. However, that was also a good thing for Tyreek, is that he didn't need Tua to put up those kind of numbers this year. I mean, how many games did Tua actually play this year? 12, I think.
I believe it was 12, and he
12,
was an MVP candidate, and he was
13.
amazing. 13. Well, I mean, how many of those games where was he concussioned?
Yeah, exactly. How many of those games did he actually fully play 100% healthy? So the fact that he didn't even need Tua to do that was pretty good for last year. Waddle's coming up.
Look, Waddle's anyone's number one. There's Cincinnati. There's a couple, Cooper Kupp, of course. There's a couple places where he wouldn't be a number one, but Waddle's a number one in about 29 other teams out there. So that's not going to hurt Tyreek. But what I'm saying is they got to get both involved. And I don't think they want to just run and gun, score 40 points a game. They don't want to do that. They also want to run the ball. They re-signed Jeff Wilson. They re-signed Mostert, which sucks. I'm really upset about that. Very upset. But the good thing is they finally drafted a running back with speed that they maybe want to use, because we've seen Dolphin fans know they've passed on running back after running back after running back, or they'd be timid, or teams will trade up and get a Javonte Williams before them. It is so frustrating being a Dolphins fan with this running game. It's so, and you hear the Dalvin Cook talks, the rumors of them wanting to trade. They want to run the ball. Last year was an embarrassment on the running game. It sucked. They cannot just keep on throwing the ball 10,000 times and expect Tua to be healthy through the whole season. They can't. That's why I believe he's going to regress. Now, look, he's still going to be top 10. That's not, but
Yeah, that's
1,700,
the thing is that
that's not
the
going to
only
happen.
way not to regress is to finish as wide receiver 1 or 2. So technically, finishing wide receiver 3, he does regress. It's just how much is he going to regress this
But
year?
this is baked into the ADP. And that's why I want to bring it back to the ADP. Wide receiver 3, 7th overall. It's going to be hard for me to take Tyreek there when there's other people there that I know for a fact are going to be like a Bijan route. It's no
Mhm.
lie. I'm not going to lie to you guys anymore. Bijan's my guy. And at that 7th range, I'm taking Bijan over Tyreek Hill because on the way back, I can get a player that's going to score me, the same amount Tyreek will, but won't have that upside of those 40 to 50 point games that he has. Like I'm trying to think of it like a Waddle, like a Jalen Waddle. You can get him in the 2nd round. He's still going to put up phenomenal numbers, but he's just not going to ever score 40 points in a game like Tyreek can consistently do. It just sucks putting him on this list because I love Tyreek and I'm a Dolphins fan and I want to have Tyreek everywhere. But the reality is there's no. And again, the casual fans are going to look at the magazines and go, Tyreek was wide receiver 2 last year without Mahomes. They're just going to draft him and they're going to take him in the top 6 and it might hurt him.
Yeah, especially since you could get the next guy, you could get that running back, you could get something else, and then pair it up with like a Devonta Smith or Chris Olave in the 2nd round. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I would rather have in the 2nd round to be able to get a more premier guy than Tyreek.
Chris
in the first.
Olave was another guy on my list that I'm like, gosh, is he going to regress?
He
Is he
could.
going?
It's just Derek Carr. I
Yes.
mean, he has a better quarterback this year, which is
No, here's the thing with Chris Olave, and I know, Gerson, G's in the chat, and I know Dave, if you're still watching, especially Wingate, you guys know how much I love Michael Thomas. I will never quit Michael Thomas. He's like that psycho ex-girlfriend that you're always going to be in love with, even though she hurts you year in, year out, year in, year out. You give her a chance every other like month or so, whatever it may be. I don't care. Michael Thomas is going to be a problem, as in he's going to take targets away from Chris Olave. And I think that Chris Olave is not going to put up the same numbers as what he did last year, comparing to a Garrett Wilson or someone else in that class. He's still going to be better than Drake London, but there's no way he can compete with the Garrett Wilsons. Or I can't see it, unfortunately. You're thinking
against Garrett Wilson. I would agree.
Well, I'm just saying I'm comparing to his draft because people were saying
of
Olave should
course.
have been the offensive rookie of the player of the year last year.
I'm just not sold on Michael Thomas ever being healthy ever again.
How could you say that though? It's not like he's an old man like in the
I
wheelchair.
think he's a one-hit wonder at this point.
One-hit wonder. Do you see? That's the problem with you people, man. And yes, I said you people.
you
people forget the amazing Hall of Fame career he had before that 2019 season. This guy wasn't a one-hit wonder.
Okay.
This guy's putting up. He had better numbers than probably Tyreek had before this 1,700-yard season.
1,725. Yeah, he had 15 more yards than Tyreek.
Yeah, Michael Thomas is a stud, and he was a stud. It was that 2020 season where he got hurt.
But he had a Hall of Fame quarterback. He hasn't had a Hall of Fame quarterback since then.
That's true. You're not wrong there. That's the biggest drop off. Maybe it's not the injuries. Maybe it's the quarterback play.
Football is not what did you do for me then. It's what have you done for me now.
Bro,
he hasn't done anything since 2019.
Tyreek Hill is 29 and a half years old.
And he is 30 years old.
And Tyreek's 29 and a half. So what's the difference? Why are we looking at
nothing? I'm not saying anything about Tyreek. I'm saying that Michael Thomas will never be healthy ever again. He's played 10 games since 2019, since his wide receiver 1 year. 10 games in 3 years.
And I didn't want to. So
how many games did Todd Gurley play in over 3 years? And he's 26 years old.
You're right, man. Stop crushing my dreams on Michael Thomas. I want it to be a thing so bad, and you and G and Wingate.
I wish I could make
Dave.
Michael Thomas a regression candidate, but you actually have to be good to be a regression candidate.
You know what? I say this to all you Michael Thomas haters out there in my leagues, drafting in my leagues. I'm dropping the gauntlet down right now. I'm bringing this challenge out. Anyone listening, any of you, because I know some of you in my redraft leagues are listening. Don't draft Michael Thomas. If you think he's a straight up bum, if you think he's a bum, let him fall to the very last pick for me, and I'll take him in the very last pick, and you could all laugh at me when he's a bum, or you could regret it, and he could be a beast, and I'm gonna beat y'all's asses. So if you want to talk crap, because I know some of y'all out there drafted him last year and laughed at me, you drafted him, and he was awesome in the first like 3 weeks, and he got hurt. He could be awesome again. That's all I'm saying. He could be awesome again. You showed it last year before he got hurt.
I'm just loving the comments right now. That's fine. I won't draft Michael Thomas in any of the leagues. I won't roster him. I won't trade for him. I won't do anything because I only have good players on my teams, and
he's a very good player. No?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
All right.
You know who else was a really good player when he had a Hall of Fame style quarterback? T.Y. Hilton, and then Andrew Luck retired, and then what did T.Y. Hilton do after that?
He was
Absolutely
he,
nothing.
he was
Nothing.
okay, but the same issues, the same issues, injuries.
Same
He couldn't stay on the field.
injuries. Had no quarterback.
These guys
Injuries.
fall off fast, man, and it's sad. But we see Tyreek at 30 years old or 29 and a half. I don't think the age is a big issue for Tyreek, for someone like Tyreek and his skill set. We saw Deshaun Jackson. Like speed, you can't.
It's hard to beat speed. It really is. If you can keep your speed up throughout your career, it's hard to beat that. Guys can't beat that.
And that's what we saw with Deshaun Jackson for so long. Like you would see him constantly get signed. You're like, why is he signed? Why? And he would just go to the Bucks and he would just ball out in the Bucks. Like, what happened? Like this guy found the fountain of youth. Then he would go here and have a couple good games here. Heck, I think he was playing with Baltimore last year. I can't remember, but I think he was. Guy's 40 years old, still playing football. Good for him.
I like this comment. Rojo is greater than Slant God.
No, that's dumb. He's trolling me. He is trolling me so hard right now.
Wrong? Is he
he's
wrong?
Not.
Though?
He's not wrong. He's not. Look,
he's not right. Jones. What
he's
not
right. Ronald Jones has
done
done
the last 3 years.
Zero.
He's played in 36 games. He's played in 36 games. Already beat him 26 games over the last 3 years.
I bet you Michael Thomas had more fantasy points last year than Ronald Jones had.
He had 16.2. Michael Thomas had, yeah, he did. Okay.
Michael Thomas crushed it. Look at his stats for the first like 3 games. I bet you he was
51 whole points.
I bet in 3 games.
22, 18, and 9.
There you go. Then he got hurt. I mean, it was 22-8. I'll take that.
If you want to take that for 3 weeks, that's fine.
I mean, I don't want him to get hurt.
Hopefully he's not a starting wide receiver in your lineup. Should probably go wide receiver early.
Well, we're going to cut this show short because, not short. We gave you our regression candidates. Again, Jared Goff for me, Tyreek Hill. Justin, you want to go ahead and say yours?
Oh, yeah. Who was it? Aaron Jones and Tyler Lockett.
Aaron Jones and Tyler Lockett. So those are your guys. When you draft them, just be wary of how much capital you spend on these guys.
Yeah.
Yes, these guys are going to be good. And they're going to be serviceable. Even a Jared Goff in a super flex league will be serviceable, and you will have to spot start him against Minnesota or any other bad defenses out there. But what I'm saying is, don't rely on these guys. You just can't, because the players regress and other players boost up. That's going to do it for us. Make sure you check out our Fins Talk Sports Network on YouTube page, guys. Check out the Dolphin. Look, if you're a Dolphins fan, this is a place to be. All right, so you got the Beer and Sports podcast on Monday nights. You got all sports. I'm sorry, Bobby, I'm destroying this. East 10th Street Boys. You got Miami Sports and Life Real Talk, Fins Talk. You have, oh my gosh, you have Fantasy Football, us, Once Upon a Sunday here on Wednesday nights, usually 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And then we have hockey, What the Puck, that's on a hiatus until it gets back. And of course, my favorite, No Holds Barred, wrestling. Check out the wrestling show. Those guys are my favorite on the network. Sorry, guys, I don't want to play favorites, but those guys are awesome. Again, follow us on Twitter if it's still a thing. Josh Kimball OUS at Justin Bowerly. And next week we were going to do a Scott Fish Bowl mock, but Scott Fish Bowl drafts will be started by then. I'll already have my team filled by the time
I won't, but it's
last
fine.
week. So we're going to do something else. We might do it as a regular mock draft. So until then, catch us next week. Bobby, can you play our music?